to do a video on hours of service and ELD. Most of you probably already know this if you're drivers. Some of you don't. Some of you aren't drivers that subscribe and you don't know how the hours of service and electronic logging device rules work. And this is part of the lost footage from the first 10 episodes that I lost when I got hacked. If you're just joining the channel, the reason the video started episode 11 is because the first 10 got deleted by a hacker. And I decided just to keep going like nothing ever happened. So that's why the video started 11 and not 1. So we're trying to replace some of that content that I lost. So there's some informational videos and some background stuff that I lost that we're gonna redo over the next couple weeks, a month, whatever it takes to get it all done. It's not a whole bunch, but it's some different informational stuff. But this one's going to be hours of service and ELD. If you drive commercially, you have to run an ELD if you're picking up and delivering freight. There's a few exceptions. There's some farm rules that you can get around. There's some local delivery type stuff that has a 120-mile air radius or something. I don't know the rules because I don't do that. I do long over-the-road type stuff, so I've never really paid attention to those rules. So there are a few exceptions to the ELD. I don't fall under any of those exceptions. So from 30,000 feet looking down, you start with a 70-hour clock every week. That's your cycle clock, cycle duty clock. So you can't work more than 70 hours in 1 week. Anytime you're on duty, that cycle clock is counting down. When it gets to 0, you have to do a 34-hour reset. We'll tackle 34s and 10 hours in a few minutes. But the 70 starts as soon as you log on for the week. The 70 starts counting down when you're on duty. It's always counting down. On duty is anything that has to do with the truck. Whether you're doing maintenance to the truck, fueling the truck, loading, unloading, if you're doing maintenance on your trailer, all of that is supposed to be on duty time. And then when you drive, you're still on duty, but you've got a drive clock. Now you have a 14-hour clock. So you've got a 70 and a 14. You can't work more than 14 hours a day. You can't be on duty for more than 14 hours a day. And again, on duty, we just went through. So that has anything to do with the truck. Of the 14, you can only drive 11 hours a day. So that leaves you 3 hours a day to do a pre-trip or post-trip, change oil, change your fuel filters, any kind of maintenance. Even if you're just washing the truck at the car wash, you're supposed to be on duty. Most people don't do that and kind of get around it one way or the other. But you're supposed to be on duty. See, that's your 14. That's every day. And then 11 is your drive time. And then within that 11-hour window of driving, or the 14-hour window, technically, every 8 hours, you're supposed to take a 30-minute break. So if I log on at, let's just call it noon to make it easy, and I start my pre-trip on duty, show half hour. Let's just call it a half hour for on duty, doing a pre-trip. Then I can drive for 8 hours before I have to take a 30-minute break. So at 8:30 at night, I would have to take a 30-minute break. And then when I come back on duty, I can finish my 11-hour clock. And then you have to take a 10-hour. When your 14 hours is over or you're done for the day, you go off duty, you have to take a 10-hour break. This is where you get in the weeds a little bit, because you can split that time, that off-duty time, into 2 separate breaks. You can do an 8-hour and a 2-hour, or a 7-hour and a 3-hour, or something like that. But the trick is you have to have a DOT-approved sleeper to split log. The sleeper has to be so many inches wide to qualify for a sleeper. If you're just in a pickup truck like I am, a 1-ton, the back seat isn't big enough. There's kits you can buy that you take the panels off the inside of the doors on each side, your windows have to be permanently up because you have to take out all the guts, because the new panel you put on in place of all the old stuff, now it's concave. I think it's concave, concave, where it curves out. That makes your width side to side legal for a DOT sleeper. But if you just have your factory mounted door panels in the back, there's not enough length to qualify it as a DOT sleeper. So the question is, can you sleep in your back seat while you're off duty? Yes, even if it's not DOT. It has to be 10 hours, and you can't split it. It has to be 10 consecutive hours in the back seat or off duty. When you're off duty, they can't tell you what to do. If you want to spend 8 hours sitting here and 2 hours sleeping, 10 is 10. When you're off duty, you're off duty. They can't tell you what you can and can't do. And that includes using PC. We'll go over PC on a different video. PC is a whole different animal. That's driving off duty for personal reasons. That's another video. But off duty time is off duty. I can sleep in the truck, on the trailer, under the truck. When I'm off, I'm off. You can't tell me where I can and can't sleep. Nobody's going to get pulled over, and the officer's going to want to see a hotel receipt where you rented a hotel for the night to get out of the truck for 10 hours. Your off duty time is your off duty time. Nobody mess with that. But that's kind of the crux of the hours of service and the ELD stuff. 14 for each day, 70 for the week, 14 for each day, and then a 30-minute break every 8 hours. You got 11 hours you can drive per day. It's kind of cut and dry. If you fall up short on where you want to make it for the night, and your 11 hours is up for the day, you're done. You can't PC. Again, I'm getting in the weeds. We'll do that on a different video. But when your 10 hours is up, or your 11 hours is up, you need a 10-hour break. You've got to pull over, you've got to stop, you got to go off duty for 10 consecutive hours. So when I say I need to take my 10-hour break, that's why. And then at the end of the 70, you have to do a 34-hour reset at the end of your 70. It doesn't necessarily have to be at the end of the 70. If I drive for 2 days, if I pick up on a Thursday and drive Thursday, Friday, and I can't deliver my next load till Monday morning, that time I'm off duty, parked over the weekend, that qualifies as my 34-hour reset. So I only used up to 22 hours of time, or up to 28 hours of time, technically, 2 14s. Thursday, Friday, and then if I'm parked Saturday, Sunday, as long as there's consecutive 34 hours of off duty, my 70 resets. And that resets all my clocks when I take a 34-hour reset. And that's a good thing and a bad thing all at the same time. If you leave time on the clock every day at the end of the day, you can run out of time without using all your hours every week, because that cycle that's a 7-day, 70-hour rule. So in 7 days, you're required to take a 34 or 70 hours, whichever comes first. So there's some slight variations in rules, but it's finite details that a lot of people just doesn't matter to them, because they do pull over and they do take their 10, they do take their 34 when they're supposed to. And there's an exception you can take for adverse driving conditions if you run into a snowstorm that wasn't foreseeable before you started for the day. If you run out of time while you're at a shipper getting loaded, then you can legally PC to the next available, not 50 miles down the road, the next available spot to take a 10 or a 34-hour reset safely. Again, we'll get into that on the next video when we start talking about PC. But that's kind of the crux of it. That's how it works. Hours of service and ELD. See ya. Alright, so I had an afterthought after I just finished that video. Because I don't have a DOT approved sleeper, you can't run teams. Teams is where you've got 2 drivers that alternate time in the driver's seat. So you'll drive your 11, you'll take your 10-hour in the back seat. You can split that 10-hour into 2 pieces. You can do 2 hours in the front seat, and you have to do 8 in the sleeper berth. You have to show yourself in the sleeper berth for 8 hours if you're running teams and you're taking a 10-hour break. But if you don't have that conversion for the door panels on a 1-ton truck, you can't run teams because you don't have a DOT sleeper in the back. If you have a DOT sleeper, you can have 2 drivers in the same truck and just go. Somebody's pretty much always available to drive. It makes it hard to sleep while somebody's driving because they want to talk on the phone, they want to listen to the radio, they want to do this, they want to do that. So teams is tough. It's a little different in a big truck if you're running teams because it's a bigger space. You can divide it up. You've got a curtain for some privacy. You don't have a curtain in a 1-ton. Somebody probably makes a kit or something that you can do a divider curtain, but makes it hard to do teams in a small truck. You can, but you have to have that DOT approved sleeper. And then, you're sharing the same bed technically with somebody else right after they got out of it. I'm out. I'm not doing that. Teams wouldn't work for me. I like to listen to the radio when I want to listen to the radio, or talk to the phone, or whatever I want to do in the truck when it's just me. I want to do that. I don't have to be considerate of somebody else's sleep patterns in the back seat. But yeah, teams is an option, but not available to everybody because of the DOT rules. Just thought I might throw that in, add it in. It was something I thought about. It's an afterthought on that video. So yeah. No teams for me. All right, see you guys next time.